Understand as well that this is who you are, not sorry, this is where you are, not who you are. And what I mean by that is the person who drinks and doesn't like their relationship with alcohol, that's not who you are. And you're moving towards who you are. You're doing this for the version of you in 12 months' time. This is just where you are on a journey right now, just at a point in time. Don't forget that. It doesn't define you, it's not who you are. You're moving through to become who you really are as you take off the fake mask of alcohol, you let go of the coping mechanism, and you allow the real you to come out and to flourish and to see what that person is really like. I didn't even know who the real me was. I thought I was an extrovert, and it turns out I'm quite introverted. I'd like nothing better than reading a book or writing a book. And I thought I had to be the life and soul of the party. So you'll discover so much about yourself. Notice anything that triggers you, adverts, people, places, and question them. If you see an advert about booze, instead of getting triggered by it, ask yourself why. What are they trying to tell you? Alcohol is a disgusting looking substance. So when they try and sell it to us, they have to sell it from another angle by telling us that we'll find the girl of our dreams, the man of our dreams, or that we'll become more confident, more funny. When you see the marketing messages on the adverts, instead of letting them be a cue for you to drink, ask yourself why. What are they trying to tell me? And there's a bit in the book about that as well. Sorry, I missed one. Understand willpower, how it wears out like a muscle, and how a positive mindset is the key. It's going to set you up for success. Be clear on what you're no longer willing to put behind alcohol. I talked about this earlier. What are you no longer willing to put in front, to put alcohol in front of? Often it's our kids and our partners. Don't allow alcohol to take priority over them any longer. And for me, that meant I can't drink anymore because I couldn't control it because I'm an all or nothing person. Consider setting a reward for yourself or penalties. And maybe at the start, take a short break. Maybe you'll commit to not drinking until the end of January. Something that feels achievable, something you really believe you can do, and then extend it towards the end of the break once you've got evidence. So use January, for example, if that's what you wanted to do, or you might say 2 weeks or 30 days, 50 days, whatever. And towards the end, evaluate it all. How's it felt? Do you feel better? Is life good? Are you feeling happier? If all the answers are yes, it's a no-brainer. Extend the break. Give yourself 100 days or make a commitment never to drink again. If you think actually life's worse and I am now, with all the evidence I've got, happy and comfortable to continue drinking, that's fine. I would never judge someone for that. But do it from a place of consciousness if you decide that. I've never actually known anyone decide that, but that's the best process, is start with a break, evaluate towards the end, extend the break if you feel things have improved, deal with any challenges that come up, reach out in communities, use your journal, keep on learning, and you're just going to get stronger. And make a freedom plan. The book's going to walk you through that. And when I mentioned reward, like, for example, if you set yourself a target of 30 days alcohol free, treat yourself to something at the end. I was spending £30 a day, which is like $35 a day on alcohol. That's a lot of money I saved. So I treated myself to some stuff at the end of it, whatever you want. And stop getting on the drama triangle. Now, I haven't got time to go through the entire drama triangle, but I am gonna share it, and it will be in the slides. I want you to learn about that. So the first days and weeks, remind yourself of the short-term trade-off in return for long-term freedom. It's really important to understand that you're gaining so much. You're not losing anything. There is a little bit of discomfort, but going through that is the only way. There's no way around it. You've got to go through it, and then you get to the other side. Look at your past routines. What do you need to change? For example, like walk the dog when you used to go to the pub. Spend time with your kids and family when you used to drink. Make alternatives. Have alternatives to your cravings. When you think that there's a challenge or a difficult moment coming up, do something else. plan it all in advance and approach it like the end of a toxic relationship, because it really is like that. Alcohol, after you've ended the relationship, will still try and bang on your door. It will send you texts like an ex-partner would. You need to ignore them. You need to know that going back there is just going to get you right into the heart of that toxic relationship again. And that if you don't reply to the messages, react to any of the messages, you're going to get yourself into a great happy place, not back to the toxic relationship. And just like when a relationship ends, it can feel hard at the start, but it gets so much easier. Stay aware when you're being pulled into drama. I'm just going to quickly share this. So the drama triangle, if you've had any conflict in your life, you've been on the drama triangle. And this isn't just about not drinking. This is about drama in general. If you could, and again, I would love you to have this as a takeaway, just to make your life better. Notice when you're on this. So we all tend to adopt a default position in drama. So a drama might be that you're at work one morning, sat at your desk, you turned up 5 minutes late because you got caught in traffic, and your boss comes in and says that you're a terrible employee. He doesn't know why you work there. You're an absolute disgrace. So he's just become the persecutor, and he's inviting you onto the drama triangle. Now, in that situation, you might become the victim and start to adopt an approach of, poor me, this isn't fair, everybody attacks me, it's not fair on me, that type of thing. Or you might try and save the situation by trying to diffuse it and become the rescuer. So, and what happens when we get on the drama triangle is that we tend to pivot positions. So for example, the boss starts off as the persecutor and the victim starts to say, poor me, the person who turned up to work late. But eventually they think, I've had enough of this. And they start to shout back and say, hang on a minute, you come in late too. You're often late, so don't have a go at me about it. This isn't fair. And they become the persecutor. And then the boss realizes, actually, they're right. I do turn up late. And he rescues the situation by saying, actually, let's diffuse this. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to upset you. It's fine if you want to come in late. It plays out in so many areas of our lives. Look out for the drama triangle. And I'll send you the slides. There's quite a bit of text about this that you can read up on. I'm not going to read through the whole thing. Just because of time. I've talked far too much. So yeah, there's a bit about that there. Notice when you get on that, that'll explain it all. It gives you solutions around that. There is a little poll around the drama triangle. I'm just interested to know if that makes sense to you. Which default role do you tend to play in the drama triangle? I'd be interested to know. Did I share the drama triangle? Don't tell me I wasn't sharing my screen then. I've got this awful feeling I didn't share my screen on the drama triangle. I was getting so carried away. If not, there it is. So about 50% play the rescuer, which would be my default position. And if you've just understood that without me showing the diagram, I'm really, really impressed. 7% the persecutor, 40% the victim. End poll. Let me just share the result. You can see the results there actually on your screen. We should be able to. Okay, sorry about that. So there's the drama triangle right there. And just to go before, that was, and you'll see all these slides anyway that I'd shared with you. How many of us are still here? Like 150. We've lost about 15 people. Right. You know, I've got rejection issues. Don't leave. I'm going to try and I'm wrapping up. Okay. I'm going to send you all of this. So, right, just quickly, how long does it take to feel better? First week, get the first week out of the way. There's 5 stages of sobriety. Unaware, when you don't even realize you've got a problem. That's ignorant bliss. Awareness, when you feel like you know there's a problem, but you don't really know what to do about it. That can be a really uncomfortable phase. But when you become aware, you're actually halfway there, which rhymes. And it's important to know that that awareness, you can only move forward from there. You can't ever go back to being unaware. So you need to keep moving forward. And that's where you need to keep educating, keep learning, and so that's the next phase. Then once we've educated ourselves and learned, we start to practice, just like a new skill. If you were learning to play the violin, you'd learn about it, then you'd start practicing it. It's exactly the same. And then eventually you master it. And they're the 5 stages of sobriety. Again, I won't go into it massively. There's a big piece about self-awareness. I'm not going to go through that. I'm going to go through challenges very quickly, and then we'll do some questions straight after that. We'll probably go about 10 minutes over. I'm really sorry. And was I not sharing my screen there again? Honestly, I'm losing my mind. Sorry about that. So there's how long it takes to feel better. Self-awareness. Challenges you might face. I'm just going to quickly, this is the last poll. Second to last poll. I'd be interested to know what stage you think you're at on that particular journey in terms of the 5 stages of sobriety. Where are you at right now? I would say mastery comes after about 6 months, maybe 6 to 8 months. And don't feel ashamed to say you feel like you've got it cracked. That's okay. There's no shame in that. And not one person is unaware. Great. Or one person is unaware. Well, you're here, right? So you are aware that there's something going on, surely. But I don't know. I'd love to talk to that one. So most of them, this is really good, actually. Most of them are educating myself and learning, practicing and growing. This is awesome. So only 4% are in the awareness phase and only 1% in the unaware phase. Right, must remember to share screen. Do that. Challenges, I'll just quickly go through these and then I'll wrap up and we'll do some questions. So challenges you might face. Cravings. I'm going to send you some videos that you can watch about cravings, or just go onto my YouTube channel and search cravings. It takes about 10 minutes to explain each of the specific tactics, so I just wouldn't have time to do them justice. But you've got to stand in the storm. You've got to allow the storm to come in. Let it shake the windows, let it rattle the doors and shake the roof, and know that it passes. It always passes. Time it. Time how long cravings last. They're not as long as you think. And when you notice that actually they fade, they get easier, you start to get the power back. But you'll never get the power unless you can dig your heels in and allow one of them to pass. One of the best tactics is so simple. 25 jumping jacks. Get a craving, 25 jumping jacks, take a picture, post it, tag me on Instagram that you're doing that, or put it on in one of my Facebook groups. You'll be so busy laughing at yourself, feeling the rush of endorphins, that the craving will soon be a thing of the past. It's so simple, but it works. We've talked about situations, people, places, behaviors. You can get people ask you why you aren't drinking. This is addressed in the book. Cross addictions. Just watch out if you're starting to eat more, or exercise more or work more. But again, this is stuff you can look at further down the line. Don't ever think one drink will be okay after you've quit. I see it that it's not one drink. It's actually a lifetime of addiction returning. I don't want that. So I don't ever take the first drink. One of the people, I think it was John again, actually, he said yesterday, I don't ever think of the first drink. I always think of the last drink. And I think that applies there. Stop thinking of the first drink. Start thinking of the last drink. Start thinking of the consequences. Play the tape forward 24 hours like a movie in your head. What will this look like? If I have this drink, how will the next 24 hours play out? The next 3 to 5 days? The next week? How will I look in a year from now? Will it derail my goals? Really play it forward. Sit in a movie theater in your mind, but don't get into the movie. You're not an actor. You're the director of the movie. You're not getting wrapped up in the action. You're just watching it. Fading effect bias, watch out for that, which is when you forget how bad it was after you've quit. Now, most people here are in the early stages, so I'm not going to go into that too much. Sleep, if you're struggling with sleep, there's a brilliant video on my YouTube for that. We've talked about that. FOMO, JOMO, big social events. Again, on my YouTube, loads about that. Feeling flat after you quit. I did a video about that last week as well. So and not believing in yourself. Like, if you don't believe in yourself, dig into it. Ask yourself why. Where does that come from? Again, often it can be linked to things from our past, and we can really join the dots up around it. Okay, there's some sleep techniques I've shared there. Social events sober. Pink clouds is when we feel really happy after we've quit. And it's an amazing thing. I've got some pink clouds behind me right now. We tend to feel great, super happy, and it tends to last as well, which is wonderful. Watch out for pause, post-acute withdrawal syndrome symptoms. That can be where we suddenly feel really flat or really down after we've quit. And it explains about this in the book. Just be aware of it. If you suddenly feel really low or really down out of the blue, just know that it passes pretty quickly as well. And when I pause hit me twice, and it went after a day both times, but I woke up feeling like, why am I doing this? And thinking that alcohol would be the solution. Just know that it's alcohol trying to play those tricks on you again, trying to sucker you back in. I'm not going to dig into that or that. Emotions. I talked about emotions. Like, start to label your feelings. Again, if there's one takeaway from this, so many people who drink don't share their feelings. They don't share their emotions. They're not connected with them. Put one of these emotion wheels on your phone and start to label the feelings. How do you feel right now? Use that and say it to yourself. And it will help you start to connect with the true version of you, and you will start to feel your feelings. Then you can start to learn to express your feelings and start to express them verbally where appropriate with people. If somebody makes you angry, or if someone makes me angry, I will tell them, and I use a template for that. I'm just whizzing through these. So right at the bottom there, learn to calmly speak how you feel without fear. So if somebody makes me angry, I use this template, not just for anger, for sadness, for anything. When you do that, so whatever it is, so my mother, she'll come to the house and she'll criticize things. When you criticize my home, it makes me feel inadequate, and I would prefer it if you didn't do that. I've just healthily expressed a feeling to the person, and I've set a boundary. It's not always appropriate to do it, but this is the stuff that you grow with as you go through sobriety. I've probably gone a bit further down the line with that, but this is the stuff that you get into as you grow. It's not just about, I'm stopping drinking, life's going to be boring and I'm going to lose all my friends. It's the opposite. You make more friends. You start to become a true, whole, empowered version of yourself. It's so amazing. I wish I could just get it in my hands and show you it, so you could touch it and feel it, and it wouldn't even be an issue for you. You would just grab hold of it and run with it. So there's a bit about emotions there. Above all, keep going. This is the last slide. Look, I keep going even when I've used more time than I should have done. Turn setbacks into comebacks. That's what they should be. Setbacks can happen. The most important thing is to learn from them. Use them as an opportunity to grow. Think about what caused you to drink. What was the trigger? What can you take from it? What boundary can you set so it never happens again? I always use the analogy of Amazon. When Amazon, the big online retailer, you know who they are, when they make a mistake, it only tends to happen once, because when they make a mistake, they step back and they look at their process and say, what can we change so that never, ever happens again? That's what you need to do. You need to be Jeff Bezos, the guy who runs Amazon. When you have a setback, what can you do so that never happens again? And even if you have 30-day ones like I did, if every time you're setting a new boundary, you're putting something in place so it never happens again. Eventually, it becomes like a finely polished diamond where there's nothing else that can happen and it all clicks into place. Some people, it clicks straight away. For other people, they need to go through a few setbacks before they get where they want to be. So don't beat yourself up about it. Connect with people who are where you want to be. Learn from them. That's exactly what I did. I joined online communities and I connected with people who were 100 days sober, a year sober. I asked them questions. I asked them how they got through the first social event, what they drink now, what they do when they have a craving. I learned from them and they took me under their wing. The sober community is the most welcoming, non-judgmental community in the world. It's incredible. Get into it. It's like the most exclusive, wonderful nightclub, and there's the most friendly, amazing, supportive people in there. There's no booze in this nightclub, but it's the happiest place, the most friendly place. Take advantage of that. You're being invited to join this community. See what it's like. Go through the door and see what it's like. I think you'll be impressed. So that's the last slide. So let's jump on to some questions. Okay, there's 35 questions. So I'm just going to, if you're okay just to do another 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I'll just jump onto a few of these. Davey said, I'm on day 4 of the book and struggled with it a little. Could you help? Yeah, I absolutely can help. Have you specified? So Davey said, yeah, would you recommend non-alcoholic drinks to help curb cravings? Yeah, I think they're an option. I think non-alcoholic drinks are great for filling the void where you had a routine and every night or day you would drink at the same time and you had a glass in your hand. Alcohol-free drinks are awesome in that respect for kind of filling a void and like a placebo effect of a routine. Charlotte, I'm doing the January live alcohol experiment with Annie Grace. Am I taking on too much? I'm not working at the moment, so I have plenty of time to watch videos. However, I don't want to frazzle my brain with too much information. What do you advise? I actually threw myself into it like I was studying for the biggest exam of my life. I actually went on vacation a couple of weeks after I quit. I took my journal. I took my sober books with me. I was writing, watching videos by the swimming pool. I absolutely did that. But when I felt frazzled or I'd done too much, I recognized it and I took a break. I paid attention to HALT, halt, hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Whenever I felt any of those things, I stepped back. I was kind to myself. I gave myself some space. I paid attention to negative self-talk. Like, be your own best friend. If you feel yourself saying, oh, I'm not getting this just isn't clicking, pay attention to it. Be your own best friend in the way you talk to yourself and not overdoing it. Don't push yourself too hard. So just try and use the Seinfeld strategy. Show up every day and put the work in. Sarah, hi Simon, I first joined a stop drinking online program in October 2016. That was 4 years ago. Since then, I stopped so many times from 1 to 16 days, longest in a row. But then I keep going back to it. I, like you, am a heavy wine drinker and I can't moderate. So even after 16 days sober, I'll convince myself to have just 1 glass of wine and it will turn into 3 bottles. How many attempts did it take you to finally stop? And what was different from last time that worked to all the other attempts? Thanks, Sarah. So like I said, probably 30, 40, but I don't know. I didn't even count them. There were so many attempts, but it was everything that I've just explained around my mindset, if you're going back to drinking, you've still got beliefs somewhere that alcohol's benefiting you, or there's feelings that you don't want to feel, emotions that you're hiding away from. It'll be one of those things we touched on. So explore them all with curiosity. Like I say, I'll send you the slides so you can go through them and really sort of pick into them. I'm just going to go for a couple more. Sorry, we've got a little bit over. LB, you said, how important are sober buddies? Sober buddies are super important. That's part of being accountable, and you'll make friends, I promise you. So when I quit, I made new friends who I joined a boot camp, a fitness boot camp, and people in the boot camp actually drank. That But because what we were doing was not about alcohol, it wasn't on the agenda. It was about fitness. So I made new friends there with the time I had on my hands, the extra space and the extra energy I had. But in the online communities, my God, I've made so many friends, and so have so many of the people who I've connected with. And you can become accountable. They get you, they understand you, they're there for you. You can reach out to them. I know people who've set up WhatsApp groups and their own little communities. It's an incredible thing. Give yourself the opportunity to find out what that's like. You owe it to yourself. Sarah, Simon, your passion and enthusiasm for this subject is so inspiring and motivating. Thank you. Oh, thanks. You'll make me blush. Bridget said, how do I get through difficult grief without alcohol? Bridget, that's a great question. And it's important to remember that life is not always a bed of roses. It can throw us the odd curveball. And this is where assessing your relationship with alcohol and what it's actually giving you in those moments is so, so important. Now, I think, first of all, that alcohol destabilizes our emotions. And obviously, grief is a time when we experience heightened emotions anyway. It's going to potentially send you into a tailspin. Yes, it can numb you for a short period of time, but it will also keep you stuck, because you'll find it very difficult to connect to the real feelings of grief. To move through grief, we have to go through the stages of grief: denial, bargaining, anger, sadness. There's another one, and I can't remember what it is. I apologize. But there's 5 stages of grief, and you won't move through them. Alcohol will keep you stuck. So in effect, by carrying on drinking, you keep yourself stuck in grief. When you allow yourself to feel the stages of grief without booze, you move through it, you process it. It doesn't mean it's easy, and I sympathize with you regarding your whatever the grief is, but you will move through it, you'll process it. And sure, life may be different after a situation involving grief, and it may never be the same again. But believe me, if you keep drinking, you will just be in this loop of it instead of moving through it. Again, it's like a sort of short-term pain, processing the emotion, processing the feelings to come out the other side feeling as happy and whole as you can in whatever situation you're in. I hope that helps. Michelle said, how do I join your Facebook group? If you just search Be Sober, BE Sober on Facebook, you'll find it. If you've got the book, it's mentioned in there. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll find it there's a link in my bio. You can get to it there as well. Jean said, any tips on dealing with childhood trauma? Oh my God, I've written another book about childhood trauma. I haven't got time to go into childhood trauma now. I wish I could, because it's such a huge topic for me. I was sexually abused when I was a teenager. You've probably read that in chapter 6. Sorry, spoiler alert. My father abandoned me. I had loads of childhood trauma, and it kept me stuck. It was a massive reason that I was drinking. There's some videos on my YouTube channel. Look for one called Why Addiction It May Not Be the Problem. That's the first one about child trauma. But yeah, I share a lot of this, and I do the same in my program and in my groups as well. But I wish I wouldn't do it justice just sharing a short amount on that. Sorry, a few people have said the slides aren't working. My apologies. So I'm just reading. So I'm just reading a few of the comments. Angela said, I'll do 4 more questions. All right, 4 more, because I'm really mindful of your time. Right, Angela, I get the impression, Simon, that you were able to deal with some big emotional issues and trauma from your past after you'd given up alcohol. Do you ever have thoughts of, now that I've dealt with and resolved all that pain and emotion that was making me drink, I should now be safe to drink again without it being a problem? Also, do you think it's possible that some people need to dig deep and do that work on themselves before they're able to stop, i.e. remove the key reason that's making them drink? Great question. So, and believe me, I've done a video about why addiction is so massively linked to our childhood. I didn't want to bang on about that too much through this workshop, but there's a huge link. It's there. Look up Gabor Mate, Gabormate. He talks extensively about this stuff. But I absolutely don't ever feel like that, because alcohol, although it was one of the reasons I drank, it made me do so many regrettable things. It destroyed my relationships. I was a bad dad when I drank. There's a video of me with my teenage son on YouTube where he talks about what it was like when I was drinking compared to when I'm sober. I don't want any of that in my life. My life is 1,000,000% better now, and I don't ever want that to change. And in terms of processing trauma, doing like therapy or that kind of work, I wouldn't, my view is the best place to do that stuff is from the mental and emotional stability that you get with being sober. I think if you try and do that stuff while you're still drinking, it can be absolutely overwhelming. And I think it should be done after you've quit. So see it as phase 2. You get phase 1 under your belt, you stop drinking, your mind clears, you become happier, you become at peace in your life, and then you start looking at that stuff from the past. That's that second phase of development that I talked about. And don't fear it. It's an amazing thing. You just get more gifts. And I would bet that almost every person on here, if we could talk one-to-one, I would find some stuff that is in your past that you might think you had a perfect childhood, and there'll be it could just be the slightest little thing. It might have been bullying at school, or some sense that you weren't good enough, or that you weren't worthy in some way, or you never got heard, or whatever. There'll be something, and that will be feelings coming up around that maybe you're drunk to suppress them, or maybe you've kept them in your shadow where you've never brought them out into the light, and that can be one of the things that contributes to keeping you stuck. Right, I'll just do 2 more because I'm so mindful of the time. Right, Sandra, let's do yours. My problem will be when I go to my holiday home in the sun, where daytime drinking is the norm. How feasible will it be to just stop drinking at home in the evening and only drinking when on holiday? Or is this just kidding myself? Sandra, I'd say probably you're kidding yourself, if I'm honest. The key is discovering how good an alcohol-free life is. Because when you actually feel everything you gain, instead of feeling like you can't have a drink, you start feeling like you don't want one. You wouldn't want one. If I went to an all-inclusive resort and there was free alcohol everywhere, I wouldn't drink it. I just wouldn't want it. There was a time when I absolutely would have, when I was trying to quit and still trying to hang on to that toxic relationship with booze. But then I got to that place where the internal conflict ended, and I became so clear on an alcohol-free life being the lifestyle that I wanted for myself. Start seeing it as a lifestyle choice. Think about people who are vegan. And I often talk about liquid vegan. You don't see them complaining or thinking, well, I'll just eat meat on Sundays. They're passionate about what they do. They wear it with pride, and they are like their own movement, a community, and there's no shame or stigma. So I talk about the term liquid vegan. I think that if we adopt the attitude that people who are vegan have, you can absolutely own sobriety, because you see it as a lifestyle choice that empowers you to become the person you want to be. Right, I'm going to do one more question because I'm so mindful of the time. I'm really sorry. Where are we? Emily said, most of the negative consequences of alcohol you're mentioning are associated with excessive drinking. What about having 1 to 2 drinks at a time, a couple of times a week? So that's moderation. I think you've got to ask yourself this question: am I in control of alcohol, or is it in control of me? If you feel you're in control of alcohol, and I know plenty of people who can have a couple of drinks on a Saturday night, 1 or 2, and they won't drink again for 2 weeks. And when they do, they have 1 or 2 drinks, and they don't think about alcohol all the time. They're not obsessing about it. They're in control. Like anything, it's on a spectrum. Most people who read stop drinking books, join stop drinking programs, they are all or nothing. They can't moderate. We need to accept it, but we also need to know that it's a gift. All or nothing behavior, when you apply it to things like starting a business, building a community, or doing things that you love, a new hobby, whatever, when you're all or nothing, it's amazing. You can achieve so much. It's like a superpower. When you mix it with an addictive substance, it's really, really dangerous. So I think that's down to the individual. Most people who try and quit alcohol try to moderate, and then moderation turns into returning to exactly how they were drinking before. And then they start to realize that it's just not working. I need to start really working on my mindset, ending the internal conflict, becoming passionately sober, and really loving my new sober life. When they adopt that mindset, they move through and they come out the other side a new person. So, but if you can just have one or two drinks and you're not thinking about alcohol during the day, wondering what time you can start drinking, how much you can have, feeling that you're deprived if you can only have two, then you're probably in control. But that question, am I in control of alcohol, or is it in control of me, I think is the acid test for that. So I'm going to keep a copy of these comments, and I'm going to try and reply to them in different ways. I'll probably do it via message, or put it in my Facebook group or somewhere like that. I might do a couple of YouTube videos where I respond to the comments, like respond back to the comments, because there's absolutely loads of questions and comments. So I want to do them all justice, and I appreciate, I asked you guys for 2 hours and I've gone on for 2 hours and 17 minutes. I really hope you got plenty from it. And I know I talk fast, and I didn't get to everything. I could have done it for 5 hours, I think, and we still would have had stuff to have gone into. Hopefully it gave you some takeaways. You're more than welcome to connect on Instagram, Facebook groups, Facebook pages, anything like that. If there's anything you're still questioning, if you've asked a question, I assure you it will get answered. I'm just mindful of time. I'll either do a YouTube video where I answer them all back and I'll send the video out to everybody in an email, or I'll do it on my blog or something like that. If you've got the book, can I ask you a favor? If you've got the book, would you leave a nice review on Amazon? It would mean so much to me, and it helps other people find the book. It helps other people know that the content's useful, and it helps them discover my community. I do this for passion. I don't do it for money. I do it because I love it, and it's my calling. It's what I love doing in life. So I'm just looking at some of the comments. Brilliant. Thank you. Oh, wow. You made me blush. Simon gave us a big dose of inspiration. Hopefully I did. I want you to come off this feeling motivated. Stop thinking that sobriety is boring and it's going to make you have a worse life. It doesn't. Life is so much better. Everything about my life is better. I can't begin to tell you. Like I say, I wish I could just give you a pass into my mind so you could see what it's like. Because if you could see it, you'd find it so easy to quit. You wouldn't want to put that poison in your body any longer. Right, Lucy's motivation is on fire. That's what I want to hear. I love it. Brilliant. And John was, I'm sorry, John, I wanted you to come on and share your story, but we just ran out of time. But I'm going to definitely go through all those questions. I'll wrap up now because otherwise I won't stop talking until midnight. But thank you everyone for coming on. If you could leave a review of the book, that's all I would ask. It would be an amazing thing. And if you've got questions or you want to connect, join the Be Sober Facebook group. Follow me on Instagram. They're the best places. And I'll look forward to following you in your journey and seeing how you get on. This is just the start. It's not the end. This is the start. Keep connecting, keep sharing. Tell me how you're getting on with the book. Post pictures. Make it fun. You can enjoy this experience, right? Judy's written loads of notes. And I will hopefully be connecting with you guys again very soon. This is the beginning. Get stuck into that book and keep sharing with me how it's going on. Don't be afraid to post, to tag me, that sort of thing. I want to know how you're doing. I've got your back. And so's the whole community when you join it. Thanks so much. It's wonderful. I wish I could have connected more personally with all of you, but there were so many people here. I'm going to wrap up now, where I'll keep talking and then I'll probably get emotional, and you don't want to see me cry. Let's not do that. Enjoy the weekend. you know where I am, and thank you so much for showing up and allowing me to be part of your journey. It means so much. I'll make sure a recording and a copy of the slides gets to everybody, and I'll look forward to seeing you again, hopefully very soon. Take care. Thank you again.